The auction house reeked of old money and older secrets. Zainab adjusted the emerald silk of her dress, feeling every eye in the room trace the curve of her shoulders, the deep richness of her brown skin against the jewel-toned fabric. 3 years in Seoul had taught her to wear confidence like armor, even when her heart was trying to claw its way out of her chest. Especially tonight. Lot 47, the auctioneer announced. A rare Ming Dynasty vase starting bid at. The doors at the back exploded open. Not literally, but the effect was the same. Conversations died mid-sentence. Champagne glasses paused halfway to lips. The temperature in the room seemed to drop 5 degrees as Kang-in walked in, flanked by 2 men in black suits who looked like they ate nails for breakfast. Zainab's fingers tightened around her clutch until her knuckles ached. 3 years. 3 years and he looks exactly the same. Except he didn't. Not really. The Kang-in she'd known had smiled sometimes, rare, precious moments when his guard dropped, and he was just a man who loved too hard and trusted too little. This Kang-in was carved from ice and gunpowder. His dark eyes swept the crowd with the casual assessment of a predator counting prey. Those eyes found her. Stopped. Something flickered across his face. Shock, recognition, rage, something she couldn't name, before the mask slammed back down. He started walking toward her section, and Zainab fought every instinct screaming at her to run. She hadn't come back to Seoul to run. 2 million, someone bid. 3, Kang-in said, his voice cutting through the murmurs. He never looked away from Zainab. The auctioneer stuttered. The vase wasn't worth 3 million won, let alone whatever currency Kang-in was using to make his point. 4 million, another voice challenged. 10 million. Kang-in's tone could have frozen hell, and if anyone else bids, I'll remember it. Silence crashed over the room like a tidal wave. Sold, the auctioneer squeaked. Zainab stood, her legs somehow steady despite feeling like water. She had to move, had to get out before he reached her, before those 3 years of careful rebuilding shattered like. A hand closed around her wrist. She stopped breathing. Leaving so soon? Kang-in's voice was soft, intimate, the way it used to be when they'd lie tangled in sheets at dawn, making promises they were too young to keep. We haven't said hello. Zainab turned slowly. Up close, she could see the new scar bisecting his left eyebrow, the silver ring that replaced the gold one he used to wear. The same cologne, though, cedar and something darker, something that used to make her feel safe. Hello, Kang-in. Her voice came out steady, small miracle. Congratulations on your vase. I don't give a fuck about the vase. His grip tightened fractionally, not painful but inescapable. What are you doing in Seoul? I live here. Something dangerous flashed in his eyes. Since when? Since I decided to come back. She met his gaze without flinching. You don't own this city. Don't I? The threat hung between them like smoke. Around them, people were pretending not to watch while watching everything. Zainab could feel their stares like insects crawling over her skin. Let me go, she said quietly. Not until you tell me. Mr. Kang, one of his suited shadows appeared at his elbow, whispering urgently in Korean. Zainab caught fragments, warehouse, police, now. Kang-in's jaw tightened. For a moment she thought he'd ignore the interruption, drag her out of here and demand answers she wasn't ready to give. Then he released her wrist, but not before leaning close enough that his breath ghosted across her ear. This isn't finished, Zainab. I will find you. And when I do, you're going to tell me why you left without a word, why you vanished like you never existed. Why? His voice cracked just slightly. Why you broke every promise we made. Then he was gone, moving through the crowd like a shark through water, leaving her standing alone with her heart hammering and tears. She absolutely would not cry burning behind her eyes. She waited exactly 3 minutes. Then she walked out the side exit, down 2 flights of service stairs, and into the Seoul night that swallowed her whole. Her phone buzzed, unknown number. Tomorrow, 3 p.m., Namsan Tower observation deck. Come alone or I send what I know to Kang-in. Zainab stared at the message, ice flooding her veins. Only 3 people in the world knew why she'd really left Seoul 3 years ago. 2 of them were dead, which meant the third had finally decided to collect. She deleted the message with shaking hands and started walking faster. Behind her, she didn't see the figure detach from the shadows across the street. Didn't see them raise a camera, snapping photos of her retreating form. Didn't see them smile. Zainab's apartment was a 3rd-floor walk-up in Itaewon, sandwiched between a nori bang that never closed and a convenience store run by an ajama who asked too many questions. She'd chosen it specifically because it was the last place anyone would look for her. Apparently, she'd been wrong. The lock on her door hung at an angle, scratched and jimmied. Fresh damage. Her blood turned to slush. Run, get out, call someone. But who? The police? In Seoul, Kang-in probably had half the force on his payroll. Her friends from before, most of them had chosen sides when she left, and none of them chose hers. She pushed the door open slowly, every nerve screaming. The apartment was trashed. Cushions sliced open, their stuffing spilling across the floor like guts. Her clothes torn from the closet. Books swept from shelves. Someone had been looking for something, and they hadn't bothered to be subtle about it. But what made her knees buckle was the photo on her kitchen counter. It was old, edges creased from handling. Her and Kang-in at Hyundai Beach, soaked from the waves, laughing like they owned the world. She was kissing his cheek while he grinned at the camera, his arm tight around her waist. She'd burned every photo when she left. Every single one. Someone had kept this, hidden it, saved it. A note was paperclipped to the corner, written in Korean characters that seemed to mock her. Some things refused to stay buried. Zainab's hands shook as she pulled out her phone. She needed to leave Seoul. Tonight. Forget the mysterious message, forget Namsan Tower, just disappear again like. Her phone rang. Kang-in's name flashed on the screen. She hadn't kept his number, which meant he'd somehow gotten hers and programmed himself in, probably within minutes of leaving the auction house. The arrogance was so perfectly him that she almost laughed. Instead, she answered. What do you want? Where are you? No preamble. His voice was rough, urgent in a way that set off alarms. That's not your business anymore. Zainab, listen to me very carefully. You're in danger, real danger. Where? I'm always in danger, Kang-in. That's what happens when you... She cut herself off. Old wounds, old accusations. Why do you care? Silence stretched between them, taut as a wire. Because someone just tried to kill me, he said finally. And the last thing they said before I put a bullet in them was your name. The phone nearly slipped from her fingers. What? Ambush at the warehouse. Professional hit, 6 men, heavy weapons. They knew exactly where I'd be and when. His breathing was slightly elevated, like he was moving fast. During the firefight, one of them started laughing, said, "You'll never find her. She's already dead, just doesn't know it yet." Zainab looked at her destroyed apartment, at the photo on the counter, at the evidence that someone had been here, in her space, touching her things. Kang-in, send me your location, now. I can't involve you in this. You can't. His voice rose, anger finally cracking through. Zainab, you vanished 3 years ago without explanation. No goodbye, no note, nothing. I tore this city apart looking for you. I made enemies I can't unmake, burned bridges I needed, all because I thought. He stopped, breathed. When he spoke again, his voice was deadly calm. You don't get to protect me, not anymore. Send me your location or I find it myself, and you know I will. She did know. Kang-in was nothing if not resourceful. Itaewon, she said quietly, but I'm leaving right now. Stay put, I'm 15 minutes away. Kang-in. Zainab. The way he said her name made her throat tight. Please, 15 minutes. Then you can run again if you want, but let me. He trailed off, and she heard something in his voice she'd never heard before. Fear. Okay, she whispered. 15 minutes. She hung up and started grabbing essentials, passport, the emergency cash she kept in a hollowed-out book, the untraceable phone she'd hoped never to use. Her hands moved on autopilot while her mind raced. Who wanted her dead? The list was shorter than it should be, but longer than she liked. And why involve Kangin? Attacking him was tantamount to declaring war on the entire Kang syndicate. Unless that was the point. Unless someone wanted a war. A sound from the bedroom froze her in place. Soft, deliberate, the creak of someone shifting their weight. She wasn't alone. Zainab grabbed the kitchen knife block, pulling out the largest blade. Her heart hammered so loud she was sure whoever was in there could hear it. "I know you're here," she called out, proud of how steady her voice sounded. "The police are on their way." Laughter drifted from the bedroom, female, familiar in a way that made Zainab's stomach drop. "Oh, Z," still lying as beautifully as ever. A woman emerged from the shadows, and Zainab's world tilted sideways. Mafia. Kangin's sister. The woman Zainab had considered her closest friend. The woman who'd helped her escape Seoul 3 years ago, who'd promised to keep her secrets, who'd sworn on her life that no one would ever know where Zainab had gone. The woman who was supposed to be dead. Surprised, Minseo smiled, and it was all wrong, too sharp, too cold. "You should see your face." "They said you died." Zainab's voice came from far away. "The car accident, Kangin mourned you." "I know, I watched from a distance. It was almost touching." Minseo stepped closer, and that's when Zainab saw the gun in her hand. "Did you really think you could just leave, just walk away from everything from him, and there'd be no consequences?" The knife suddenly felt very small in Zainab's grip. "Minseo, what are you?" "The question isn't what I'm doing, Z. It's what you're going to tell my brother when he gets here in." She checked her watch. 12 minutes. Are you going to tell him the truth about why you really left? Zainab's pulse thundered in her ears. "About the baby you were carrying when you ran." The knife clattered to the floor. Zainab couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't do anything except stare at Minseo's twisted smile and wonder how she'd ever thought this woman was her friend. "That's right," Minseo said softly, circling closer. "I know about the pregnancy. I've always known. The real question is, does the baby still exist? Did you keep it, abort it, give it away?" Her eyes glittered with malice. "Where is Kangin's child, Zainab?" "You're insane," Zainab forced the words out. "You helped me leave. You gave me money, contacts, everything. Why would you?" "Because I needed you gone." Minseo's mask slipped, revealing something raw and furious underneath. "Do you have any idea what you did to him? My brother, the strongest man I knew, fell apart. He stopped eating, stopped sleeping, made reckless decisions that nearly got him killed a dozen times, all because of you." "Then why bring me back?" Zainab's mind raced, looking for exits, weapons, anything. "Why the messages? Why now?" "Because 3 years wasn't enough." Minseo raised the gun slightly. "He was finally healing, finally becoming himself again, and then your name started appearing in intelligence reports. You were back in Seoul, rebuilding a life, while he still woke up screaming your name in his sleep." Footsteps pounded up the stairwell outside. Minseo's expression shifted. "Decision time, Z. Tell him the truth, or I will, and my version is so much more interesting than yours." The door burst open. Kangin stood in the entrance, gun drawn, 3 of his men flanking him. His eyes swept the room, the destruction, Zainab frozen in place, Minseo with her weapon. Then his gaze locked on his sister. The gun fell from his hand, clattering against the floor. "No," the word came out strangled. "No, you're dead. I buried you. I buried a body, Opa." Minseo's voice gentled, almost affectionate. "Just not mine. You really should have insisted on seeing the face, but you were too destroyed to look, weren't you?" Kangin swayed like he'd been shot. Zainab moved without thinking, stepping toward him. "Kangin!" "Don't!" He held up a hand, eyes still fixed on Minseo. "Someone explain what the fuck is happening, now." "I faked my death," Minseo said simply. "Had to. The Park family wanted me eliminated for that botched deal in Busan. You remember, the one where half their shipment ended up in police custody. They blamed me." "Because it was your fault," Kangin said, his voice gaining strength. "You got greedy, tried to play both sides." "I got strategic," Minseo shrugged. "Either way, I needed to disappear, And conveniently, Zainab here needed to vanish too, so we helped each other. Kangyan's eyes cut to Zainab. The betrayal in them was a physical blow. You knew, he said. All this time you knew she was alive. I didn't, Zainab started, but Min Seo talked over her. Oh, she knew. Who do you think helped me stage everything? The car, the body, the dental records. Your precious Zainab was instrumental. It was a lie. Zainab had believed Min Seo died just like everyone else. But before she could protest, Kangyan's expression shuddered completely. Why come back? He addressed them both, his voice empty. Either of you, why not stay gone? Because the Parks found me, Min Seo said. 3 months ago. They're willing to forgive if I deliver them something valuable. And the most valuable thing in Seoul is you, Opa. Or rather, your territory. Kangyan laughed, bitter and harsh. So this is a setup. The ambush tonight, bringing Zainab back, all of it to destabilize me before the Parks move in. Not exactly. Min Seo's smile turned sharp again. See, I don't want to hand you over. You're my brother. Family means something, even to me, so I'm offering an alternative trade. What trade? Min Seo's gun swung toward Zainab. Her, and what she's been hiding from you. Everything seemed to happen in slow motion. Kangyan moved, fast as lightning, putting himself between the gun and Zainab. His men raised their weapons, red laser sights painting Min Seo's chest. Lower the gun, Kangyan said, deadly quiet. Now. Why protect her? Min Seo demanded. She left you, she broke you, and she's been keeping secrets that. I said lower it. For a long moment, Min Seo stared at her brother. Then she lowered the weapon, but her smile never wavered. Fine, but she should tell you herself. Ask her, Opa. Ask her why she really left Seoul. Ask her about the clinic in Gangnam she visited 4 times before disappearing. Ask her. Enough, Zainab's voice cracked through the tension. She was shaking, tears streaming down her face, but she met Kangyan's eyes directly. You want the truth? Fine, I was pregnant, with your child, and I left because... Her phone buzzed, the burner phone she just grabbed. Everyone froze. With trembling hands, Zainab pulled it out. One new message. If you want to see your daughter again, come to Namsan Tower. Alone, 3 p.m. tomorrow. Tell anyone and she dies. Attached was a photo that made Zainab's knees give out. A little girl, maybe 2.5 years old, with Zainab's rich brown skin and Kangyan's dark eyes. She was asleep in a car seat, completely unaware of the danger. Completely unaware that her mother had been trying to protect her all along. Zainab looked up at Kangyan, watched his face as he processed what he'd just seen on her screen, watched the confusion turn to shock turn to something far more devastating. You have a daughter, Min Seo said softly. Congratulations, Opa, it's a girl. Kangyan stared at the photo, his expression fracturing. Where is she? His voice was barely human. Zainab, where is our daughter? I don't know. The words broke on a sob. I left her with someone I trusted in Lagos, someone who was supposed to keep her safe. But if they have her, if they brought her to Seoul. She couldn't finish. Kangyan grabbed her shoulders, gentle despite the urgency. Who took her? Who sent this? I don't know. The message came from... Zainab's eyes widened as realization hit. She spun toward Min Seo. You found her, you brought her here. Min Seo's smile was confirmation enough. Not me personally, but yes, I located your daughter. She's leverage, Z. The Parks want Kangyan's cooperation, and now I can deliver it, because he'll do anything to protect his child. She wasn't wrong. Zainab could see it in Kangyan's eyes, the instant recalculation, the shift in priorities. Everything he'd built, everything he'd fought for, suddenly meant nothing compared to a daughter he'd just learned existed. Take me to her, Kangyan's voice was pure ice. Now. Tomorrow, 3 p.m., Namsan Tower. Min Seo backed toward the window. And Opa, come alone or the Parks will make sure you never see her alive. Oh, and one more thing. She pulled something from her pocket and tossed it to Zainab. A pacifier, pink with a butterfly design. She's been crying for her mama, Min Seo said. Then she was gone, disappearing through the window with practiced ease. The silence after Mincio left was suffocating. Zainab clutched the pacifier so hard the plastic edges cut into her palm. She couldn't look at Kangin, couldn't bear to see the questions, the anger, the betrayal that must be written across his face. Her name is Amara. The words came out barely above a whisper. She hadn't said her daughter's name aloud in weeks, afraid that speaking it would somehow put her in danger. Too late for that now. Amara. Kangin tested the name like a foreign language. You named her without me. I did everything without you. Zainab finally looked up, met his eyes. I had to. You don't understand what it was like. Then make me understand. He hadn't moved, hadn't touched her since releasing her shoulders. The distance between them felt like continents. You were pregnant with my child and you ran, didn't tell me, didn't give me a choice, just gone. Because they would have killed her, the words exploded out of her. And you, and me, everyone. Who? The Parks. No, someone worse. Zainab sank onto the couch, exhaustion crashing over her. Do you remember Director Choi from the prosecutor's office? Kangin's expression darkened. The one who tried to bring down my operation 2 years before you left. He disappeared. He didn't disappear. I killed him. The confession hung in the air like smoke. Kangin's men shifted uncomfortably, hands drifting toward weapons. But Kangin just stared at her, processing. Explain. He cornered me one night after I left your place, said he knew about us, had photos, evidence, said he'd destroy you unless I became his informant. Zainab's hands trembled around the pacifier. I refused. He got aggressive. There was a struggle. He hit his head. I panicked. So you ran. I called Mincio. She helped me stage it to look like a rival gang hit. We were careful, covered every trace. Zainab's voice cracked. But 2 weeks later, I found out I was pregnant. And then Mincio started acting strange, asking questions about the body, about what Choi might have told me before he died. That's when I realized. She was working with him, Kangin finished, his voice hollow. My sister was feeding information to the prosecutor. I don't know for certain, but I couldn't risk staying to find out. If she was compromised, if anyone discovered what I'd done, they'd use the baby against you, against us. Zainab wiped her eyes roughly. So I left, disappeared, had Amara in Lagos and kept her hidden because that was the only way to keep her safe. Kangin walked to the window, staring out at the Seoul night. His reflection in the glass looked carved from stone. You should have told me. And what would you have done? Gone to war, burned the city down looking for threats. That's exactly what I was trying to avoid. Zainab stood, anger finally breaking through the fear. You think I wanted to raise her alone? You think I didn't cry myself to sleep every night knowing she'd grow up without her father? I did what I had to do. You took that choice from me. Kangin turned, and the pain in his eyes was devastating. I deserved to know. I deserved to fight for her, for you. You would have died trying. Maybe that was my decision to make. They stared at each other across the destroyed apartment, 3 years of hurt and longing and rage crackling between them. One of Kangin's men cleared his throat. Boss, we should move, if the Parks are involved. Get out. Kangin didn't look away from Zainab. All of you, secure the perimeter but give us the room. The men hesitated, then filed out silently. Alone, the tension somehow intensified. Show me, Kangin said quietly. Show me pictures, everything. I want to know my daughter. Zainab pulled out her real phone with shaking hands. Her gallery was full of Amara, sleeping, laughing, covered in food, taking her first steps. Every milestone Kangin had missed. She handed him the phone. Watching him scroll through, watching his expression shift from anger to wonder to grief, nearly broke her. He stopped on a video, turned up the volume. Amara's laugh filled the apartment, bright and pure. She was chasing bubbles in a park, stumbling on chubby toddler legs, calling out "Mama," in a voice that was half English, half Yoruba. A sound escaped Kangin's throat, not quite a sob, but close. She has your smile, Zainab whispered. Your stubbornness, too. Won't sleep unless she's holding her stuffed tiger. Refuses to eat anything green. What else? His voice was raw. Tell me everything. So she did. For 20 minutes, Zainab talked about their daughter, her favorite songs, her fear of thunderstorms, the way she said, I love you in 3 languages. She talked until her voice gave out and tears were streaming down both their faces. When she finished, Kang-in handed back the phone carefully, like it was made of glass. We're getting her back, he said. Whatever it takes. Kang-in, you can't just. I've missed 2.5 years. I won't miss another day. His jaw set with determination she recognized. Tomorrow, 3 p.m., we go to Namsan Tower. They said alone. They can say whatever they want. I'm not letting you walk into a trap by yourself. And I'm not letting you sacrifice everything you've built for. For my family, Kang-in closed the distance between them in 2 strides. Zainab, I don't care about territory, about power, about any of it. Not compared to her, not compared to you. His hand came up, hesitating inches from her face, asking permission. She nodded, barely breathing. His fingers traced her cheekbone, gentle despite the calluses, despite the violence she knew those hands were capable of. I never stopped, he said softly. 3 years, different women, different distractions, none of it mattered, it was always you. Kang-in. You don't have to say it back, I know I don't deserve. She kissed him. It was desperate and messy and tasted like tears and regret, and 3 years of missing someone so badly it hurt to breathe. His arms wrapped around her, pulling her close, and for just a moment, she let herself believe this could work. Then her phone rang. Not the burner, her regular phone. Unknown number. Kang-in pulled back, immediately alert. Don't answer it. But something made her pick up. Zainab, a man's voice, accented cold. I hope you enjoyed your reunion with Mr. Kang. Very touching. Ice flooded her veins. Who is this? Someone who's been watching you both for quite some time. I must say, the baby is beautiful. Such expressive eyes. Kang-in grabbed the phone, putting it on speaker. If you touch her. You'll what, kill me? Stand in line. The voice laughed. Here's what's going to happen. Tomorrow at 3 p.m., Zainab comes to Namsan Tower. Alone. She brings the evidence Choi gave her before he died. Yes, we know he passed you something, don't bother denying it. You bring that, you get the child. Simple exchange. Zainab's mind raced. Choi hadn't given her anything. There was no evidence. Unless. And if I don't have what you're looking for, she asked carefully. Then we'll see how well a 2-year-old swims in the Han River in January. The line went dead. Kang-in's face had gone completely white. What evidence? What did Choi give you? Nothing, I swear he didn't. Zainab froze. Wait, before he died he was rambling. Said something about insurance, about files hidden where only the dead can find them. I thought he was just panicking, but if he was working with Min Seo and she's working with the parks? Kang-in's expression turned calculating. What if the files are real? What if they contain something the parks need? Then we have less than 24 hours to find evidence that might not exist. Zainab looked at him. And if we fail, they kill Amara. Kang-in's phone buzzed. He looked at the screen and his expression went from determined to horrified. What? Zainab demanded. What is it? He turned the phone toward her. A news alert. Prosecutor found dead in Han River. Body identified as Director CHOI from 2022. Below it, a single message from an unknown number. The dead do tell tales. Clocks ticking.